Well, folks, the writing on the wall is quite clear. Donald Trump and his campaign of promising massive and historical voter fraud are at their end, unless, of course, he can immediately prove overwhelming amounts of fraud that can alter the time of the stolen 2020 election. Now, before my fellow Trumpers come out and publicly attack me, I, as well as you all, know that the Democrats in this country perfectly manifested the biggest crime in American history. However, the game is up, and according to multiple news sources, President Trump has agreed to the formal transition for Joe Biden and his administration. Ahead today, I break down what Trump must and should do to better the United States. Also, I will list for you just what Joe Biden and his administration continue to construe to dismantle our Constitution and the republic of which it stands. This is Eric Wright, and you are listening to the Closet Conservative Podcast. Joe Biden and his communist companions running amok across America are using these times of happiness and Thanksgiving as an attempt to scare people out in the nation into submission. That's right. From the mouths of Biden's liberal minions to the mugs of mainstream media outlets, celebrate on Thanksgiving and gather on January the 1st for your funeral. There is no doubt that if you believe the numbers provided across America, COVID-19 continues to infect and kill. However, from the onset, numbers of infections and actual COVID deaths remain quite the mystery and inflated given the infected person's past medical conditions. Now, liberal politicians and their partner news outlets would have you believe that a simple COVID germ will indeed leap from your cup and saucer, your bowling ball, and your bench press. But you're perfectly safe from the Chinese death in your Joe Biden and your BLM rallies, because COVID, unlike Republicans in white suburbia, is free from ridicule in its discrimination. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden has begun to release his cabinet positions, and well, if you've hung around the political arena for, let's say 4 years, this at-played-again liberal has-been who's who is again rewarded for their patronage. That's right. Old Joe Biden and his around-the-block mentality brings back the best and brightest that the centrist Democratic Party has to offer. Folks, reintroducing former U.S. Secretary of State and Democratic presidential nominee John Kerry as a special envoy on the climate crisis is nothing more than pandering to this country's progressives. AOC and Bernie Sanders deep down know there is no room in Joe Biden's immediate team, and in fact, putting their faces in prominent roles would cause disharmony and discord. However, do not think for 1 second that they are not pulling strings from behind the scenes. Enter the ketchup king himself by marriage, John Kerry. Remember, John Kerry comes with a lot of baggage, and like Biden, a fellow lame duck who used his position to further his political career. During John Kerry's candidacy in 2004 for president, a political issue that gained widespread public attention was Kerry's Vietnam War record. Kerry point-blank lied about his military service and his medals awarded. But you see, for Democrats, you can lie, you can cheat, you can pillage, and you can intentionally fabricate your contributions to civil society, and well, it doesn't matter. In fact, you will be rewarded. And if you are wrong, well, it also doesn't matter, because only conservative and Republican candidates deserve scrutiny in the eyes of today's Americans. And those stories manifested and mass-produced by today's media. Folks, Joe Biden is going to manifest by design a cabinet of non-polarizing figures. Not that doesn't want the input from AOC and her fellow gang of progressives, but Joe Biden wants to challenge the confirmation process and ensure that Senate Republicans cannot and dare not go against his selections. But ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. Joe Biden and his fellow liberals are not dumb. No. They know deep down they have to continue to deceive the American people like they have been into doing their bidding and only appoint them as a simple figurehead to appease the pushback that is sure to come. Folks, Trump isn't worried about his legacy, and well, Why should he? Should his legal challenges fail, he knows that he did his best. And well, for half of Americans, that was good enough. They voted for pandering Democratic policies that don't challenge them or their families for their other half. They have favored factors that do not force them to work hard and strive for success. For you see, in liberal America, only government can provide you the necessary tools in your tool belt to tune you, your community, and your family towards the stars. And should Trump vacate the Oval Office, with all indications with this transitioning underway, the real fight to stop American socialism from starting is to ensure that Republicans maintain control of the Senate. That's right. Despite conservative pickups in the House, should Democrats control both Congress and the White House, nothing will stop Joe Biden from Pelosi, Schumer, and AOC from pulling his strings to force the political prison for all Americans. The proof is there, and in time, evidence will come out just how Democratic politicians and the media conspired to steal the American election process. While it may be too late for 2020, Donald Trump and those who faithfully followed him to promote American values to global prosperity again will have their voices heard. And in the meantime, conservatives from coast to coast better arm their hearts, their homes, their minds, and souls for the bitter battles that are sure to come. The fight for freedom is worth having, folks. But the question is, just how far are Americans willing to go? In 1775, at the Battle of Lexington and Concord, American patriots and militiamen stood up to tyranny. They risked their lives and those of their families for the sake of a real, free society, a way of life that transformed our country from colonies to a constitution. And in the year 2020, what will bring you to battle? This is Eric Wright, and you've been listening to the Closet Conservative Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Please remember to give a 5-star review and share our podcast with your friends. The Closet Conservative Podcast is a production of the Liberty Loft. Copyright The Liberty Loft, 2020. You can find more shows and information on our website, www.thelibertyloft.com, or any of our social media channels.